The judge in former President Trump's New York civil fraud case has just ruled on a new challenge from New York Attorney General Letitia James. She wanted to have Trump's $175 million bond rejected, but the court says his bond will stand. Here's what the former president had to say ahead of that ruling this morning.
We have another trial going on right now. That's Letitia James. She campaigned on the fact that I will get Trump, I'm going to get Trump. And it has to do with a bond of $175 million. She doesn't want me to participate with financial companies in New York. So we have a company, I guess, based in California. I put up $175 million in cash, and she's questioning the bonding company.
Fox Business's Lydia Hu is here with more. Lydia.
Hi there, Emily. There have been many appearances and hearings before Judge Arthur Engoron during the course of this civil fraud trial. Many of them have been contentious, but this one stands out because the parties were surprisingly collaborative. The hearing lasted for about an hour, and during that time, the lawyers for Trump and the state attorney general's office came to an agreement about the bond. Now, questions had swirled around the company underwriting the bond. That's Knight Specialty Insurance Company. It always maintained that Trump posted cash as collateral to secure the bond. But the attorney general raised questions about how that account was managed and who had access to it and whether Knight Specialty could pay the bond if needed. So to address those concerns, here's what both sides agreed. The cash that Trump put up as collateral will remain as cash in a Charles Schwab account. Knight Insurance will have exclusive control of that account. No one will trade or withdraw the money. Knight Insurance and Trump will provide monthly statements to the attorney general's office and the court proving that the balance remains $175 million. We got to speak to attorney Alina Habba, who is counsel for the former president. Here's her reaction after the hearing.
Ms. James wanted to argue and say that our cash somehow isn't green enough. 1 hour, the attorney general and that judge realized quickly that they had no idea what they were talking about. We came to an agreement that everything would be the same. We would modify terms, and that was it. This is where your taxpaying dollars are going.
Breaking news. The former president is speaking. Court is over for the day. Let's watch.
Thank you.
And they call it a legal expense. That's the exact term they used, legal expense, in the books. And another thing that wasn't even said was we never even deducted it as a tax deduction. So that takes a whole vast. Most people want to deduct everything. We never even took it as a tax deduction. But they called a payment to a lawyer a legal expense in the books. They didn't call it construction. They didn't say you're building a building. It called a payment to a lawyer because, as you know, Cohn is a lawyer. Represented a lot of people over the years. I'm not the only one. And wasn't very good in a lot of ways in terms of his representation. But he represented a lot of people. But he puts in an invoice or whatever, a bill, and they pay it, they call it a legal expense. I got indicted for that. What else would you call it? Actually, nobody's been able to say what you're supposed to call it. If a lawyer puts in a bill or an invoice and you pay the bill, and in the book, it's a little line, that's a very small little line. I don't know if you could even write more than 2 words. It's not like you could tell a life story. They marked it down to a legal expense. This is what I got indicted over. Think of it. I got indicted. I'm the leading candidate. I'm beating Biden. I'm beating the Republicans now. I have the nomination. And this is what they try and take me off the trail for. That check's being paid to a lawyer. He is a lawyer, or was a lawyer. And also the things he got in trouble for were things that had nothing to do with me. He got in trouble. He went to jail. This had nothing to do with me. This had to do with the taxi cab company that he owned, which is just something he owned, and medallions and borrowing money and a lot of things, but it had nothing to do with me. He represented a lot of people over the years. But they take this payment and they call it a legal expense, and you heard it today for the first time. This is what I got indicted over.